Hi, I'm Rebecca Skeele, and welcome to video number 2 in my study guide, author-led book study on manifesting your sacred ambition, harnessing vision and power to bring your sacred calling to the world in service to your greater good. And this is my second video, and we're going to dive right into chapter 1. So if you have the ebook copy of this book, please get it out. Also your study guide, which you get along with the ebook. And if you'd like the ebook, it is complimentary to you. All you have to do is just go to the link that is in the text below this video, or I think there's also a little download the ebook now or something that shows up. Anyway, and you can get it for yourself. So let's take a look at chapter number 1. Sacred Ambitions, a Path of Self-Awakening and Self-Fulfillment. I'm on page 1 if you have your ebook. So let's look at the first paragraph, and I'm just going to read it. Living your sacred ambition is a lifelong path of self-awakening and self-fulfillment. It is not a destination. It is an ongoing uncovering and discovering of the multidimensional talents, gifts, abilities, and blessings of you. It is also learning what it takes to bring that sacred calling out into the world in alignment with your true power and in service to the greater good. It is a true path of complete fulfillment. Well, that's quite a paragraph. It has a lot in it. And I want to bring your attention to the first study question in chapter 1. It says, what is self-fulfillment to you, and how do you experience it? So I think I want to start there. When I say sacred ambitions are a path of self-awakening and self-fulfillment, I would like to tell you what I mean by that. And then I'm hoping you will answer this question for yourself. Let's start with self-awakening. I believe that our life is a process of awakening to who we are over time. In other words, who I am today, what I'm awakened to inside myself today is very different than 30 years ago. When I was in my 30s, I was awakened to that part of my life, to the talents and abilities and blessings that I had at that time. But here 30 years later, I am awakened to much more. So what I have realized is that over time, as we awaken ourself to ourself, and there are many ways in which we do that and many experiences that happen along the way, at some point it begins to dawn on us, at least it did for me and those that I work with, that, wow, this is a journey that I'm on, and it has something to do with my essence, my blessing, and what is really sacred to me. And at some point along the way, we awaken to that. I'd like to suggest that if you're watching this video series and doing this study guide book series with me, you are awakening to that as well. So what I have come to call this is sacred ambition. That along the way we begin to say, wow, I'm here to bring forward some gifts and talents and blessings and my sacred calling. And that is a path that I can line up with my ambition and my true power. Now, in the first video, I talked a little bit about my personal journey and how it's kind of unfolded for me. And I said in there at some point, you know, what I realized when I got the tap on the shoulder to take my work out into a bigger audience and to reach more people is that I had to get bigger. I had to reach deeper. I had to bring forward parts of me that I had not been willing to bring forward, that I had not been awakened to bring forward. So that's the first piece of what I consider sacred ambition to be about. And then the second piece is self-fulfillment. Now, what do I mean by fulfillment? What do you mean by fulfillment? Well, I'll tell you what I mean. When I fulfill something inside of me, I bring myself fully 100% to it. and I experience it, express it fully. So, as I awaken and as I have awakened to the blessings and gifts of who I am, I have fulfilled them by bringing myself to them. And in doing that, I have created fulfillment, wholeness, fullness for myself. And like I said in the first paragraph, you don't just do it once, you do it over and over and over again. So, as I awaken, I fulfill myself, and as I fulfill myself, I awaken more. So it is an ongoing journey. It's an ongoing path. And I'm kind of starting there with Sacred Ambition because I want to give you the bigger context of what this is about. Now, if this is resonating for you, and I'm going to get very specific here. So please know that I'm starting big and then I'll get very specific. If this is resonating for you, then great. And if it's not resonating for you, my suggestion is, well, watch a couple more videos or not. Because Sacred Ambitions, the journey of Sacred Ambition, I believe is huge right now on the planet, but not everyone is in a place to really be able to bring it forward at this time. And I'm going to talk actually a lot about that as we go forward. Okay, I'm going to continue reading. There is no place your sacred ambition will not take you. You will learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable and trust the unknown. This is a very important part of Sacred Ambition journeys. It is not for the sureness, like, okay, I have all this wrapped up, been there, done that, know what I need to do kind of thing, because it's an ongoing awakening and fulfillment. We spend a lot of time in the uncertainty and getting really comfortable with the uncomfortable. I talk a lot more about that in the book, so I'll just wait until later. And third paragraph. Your sacred ambition will also use everything that is part of you, all the wins of your life and all the losses, all the hurts from the past, the disappointments, heartaches, and failures will be transformed through the alchemical process of turning the lead of you into gold. If you are resonating with sacred callings and sacred ambitions, you know that part of the journey is your inner work. In fact, the inner work goes hand in hand with all this self-awakening and the self-fulfillment. And we do use everything. Everything is used. There is nothing wasted. There is nothing that needs to be discarded along the way. And I talk way more about that in these 5 chapters as well. But for now, I just want you to consider that. Wow, what if I could really transform those failures, those sense of failures, that disappointment, that loss, that, gosh, I wish I had, done X, Y, Z. What if I could transform that into goldenness for myself? And what is that for you? Okay. So, the next study question says, knowing who you are is essential to following a sacred calling. Where are you challenged inside yourself when the world wants you to abandon your big dream or vision or sacred call? And the world will do that. It will invite you to step out of or back off of your big dream and your big vision. It will want you to stay small. It will want you to live the status quo, what is expected of you. It will not want you to really bring this forward. Why is that? Because the world operates on a whole different paradigm around what is the status quo, and it wants to maintain that. And yet I would like to suggest that that dream in your heart, that big vision, is bigger than what you see in the world that is disturbing to you. And yet, sorry, my nose is running. It's that time of year. And yet, we can use what is so disturbing, what breaks our heart in the world, to get in touch with that sacred calling. And once you do that, then what it takes is for you to not go to the world with your cup of approval and say, approve of me, validate me. Because if you do that, you will not get it. You will not get it in a sustainable way. Oh, you might get some recognition right at first, or you might get a pat on the back over here, or, oh, that's cool over there, but it will not be sustainable. Where you want to go is you want to go to people who are also doing the same thing you are doing, which is bringing this sacred calling out into your life. And you want to be with people who know the path and how to navigate through it. So, again, I will talk about the world a lot in these 5 chapters. And actually, I have a whole bonus handout that you're going to get if you sign up for the ebook about the 8 common reasons people give up too soon. And going to the world is one of the big reasons that people give up. Okay, so again, what challenges you when the world wants you to abandon your dream? And the world could be your neighbor, your family, your children, your spouse. So that could all be the world. Just want to say that. Okay. Well, let's keep going. This is a study guide, by the way. On page 2, the subtitle here says, "You were born for this time." I believe we were all born for this time. As chaotic, as intense, as challenging that the world is right now, the times we are going through, I believe we were born. I was born for this time. And I'll just say, do you believe that? Because those of us who have big dreams and big visions are here for a reason. We're here because we do have them. We know we want to make an impact. And I want to say right now, I don't believe in changing the world. I don't really believe that I have the right to mess with a lot of people's lives. But I do feel like I have the right to impact people who come to me, who come into this tribe of sacred ambition, who raise their hand and say, yes, I am resonating. This is the path I'm on. I do believe I have the right to impact that life in a way that is going to further that person, you, hopefully, to bring forward that sacred calling and sacred ambition. So I believe in big impacts on the world, and I believe that those of us who have sacred callings are here to do that. And that's why these times are so challenging. Or that's why, because they're challenging, we are bringing forth these big visions. Interesting, isn't it? It's one of those ironies. It's kind of like one needs the other, right? One needs the other to really come forward. It's one way of looking at it. Okay, study question number 3. You have lived a courageous, purposeful, and mattered life. If you agree with this statement, what has been courageous about your life up until now? And if you don't agree, how would you describe your life up until now? So again, this is for you to decide. It's not for me to tell you that you've lived a courageous and purposeful life, but I believe everyone has. I just do. I believe that we are courageous in our life because of the choices we've made. And we've made those choices in the past based on the best information we had at the time. And now maybe it's time in your life to really start making different choices for you based on what is truly so precious in your heart. So again, just consider that everything has been on purpose in your life. And I want to say something about being on purpose for a moment, because there's a lot out there about your purpose-filled life. That's, I think, a very popular title of a book. It's really impacted a lot of people. Good. However, I have known my purpose for a long, long time. I've known that I'm a teacher and a mentor. I knew this when I was in high school. I knew that in my 20s, in fact, I got my BA in teaching and I began to teach. This is what I thought I was going to be doing. And yet, what I am doing today is so much bigger and more, and so much resonates with the essence and blessing of who I am, that yes, I start with my purpose. I am to be a teacher and a mentor. And yet I'm also to really bring forward this sacred calling. And that is part of my purpose. I mean, my purpose is aligned with that, but it's so much greater than that. And that's one of the reasons that I'm bringing this work out, that I'm talking about this, and I'm doing this book study guide class or video series or whatever you want to call it. It's one reason I do my event every August to get us together, is because this particular part of who we are and our big visions and big dreams is different, and it requires us to know the signposts along the way. And then the last question, do you identify with Laura, Sherry, or Kim's stories, and if so, how? Okay, well, when I'm actually rewriting this chapter, when I rewrite this chapter, there are going to be a lot of stories in this chapter of people who have lived their life in a certain way and then realized that they had a sacred calling and their life shifted. And so I put 3 very short snippets of stories in here. And let me just say that Laura's story, and by the way, these are made up names. Laura's story is all about someone who was in corporate life, bought into corporate life. This is, my life. This is where I'm going to be. And yet, over time, realized that she had to leave her heart and soul at the door every day when she walked into her office. And she couldn't do that anymore. And it was taking impact on her body, her health, her well-being, etc. And she had to change. And what she changed into was realizing that she had a sacred calling. So that's Laura's story in a kind of a synopsis there, a little cliff note, if you will. Then Sherry's story is sort of similar. She was in a career path. She was using her gifts. She was good at what she was doing. And yet she realized in a major 2x4 in her life, this is often how it shows up, kind of in her late 30s, early 40s, that she had a calling inside to do something completely different. And so she walked away from a very high-powered, high-paying job and stepped into a career that paid her a lot less and yet really fulfilled something deep inside of her. And that's Sherry's story. And then lastly, Kim's story. This is often what happens too. The dreams. Our dreams start to disturb us, wake us up, go, what is going on? And maybe disturb us in a way like something's wrong. Something's wrong. Is it my life? Is it me? What's wrong in I don't understand why I'm having these disturbing dreams. And Kim found out that, yeah, there was something wrong. It wasn't with her, but it was with her choices that she had made. And so she kind of abandoned everything. She said, I've got to go find myself. And this is often what people do too. They might start traveling for the next couple of years, or, completely move across the country and decide to live I actually live in a place where a lot of people come to do that kind of stuff. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And this was Kim's story. This is how she discovered what her sacred calling is. So these are just 3 examples. They are not in any way a complete composite of all the ways that sacred ambitions can begin to impact our life. And I'd like to say at this point, as I wrap up chapter 1 in this video, that this is an opportunity for you to share your story with me. And you can do it in a couple of ways. You can post it here in the comments underneath this video. I would love for you to say how this is coming forward for you. Or very soon you'll receive an email with my email address, and you can send it to me personally if you'd like to do it that way. Because one of the things I'm doing in this book is I will be opening it up to having people's input and stories, because the more stories we can have, the more people share who they are, how this is coming forward, the more people can see each other in it and go, oh, that's me. Oh, yeah, I can really resonate with that. And that's how all of us assist each other and co-create with each other to bring sacred ambitions and sacred callings out into the world. So that's chapter 1. I hope you have enjoyed this walking through chapter 1, and next video we will start on chapter 2. Bye for now.